to the show as always. I'm your host, Chris Anderson. Thank you all for tuning in. And I hope you're listening to this wonderful, amazing voice and guests, including myself. Anyway, thank you so much for being part of what we do. All right, girls and boys, as we were talking earlier on the show, it's all about the betterment of Nigeria, and we all really want something good. So we want to talk about the Nigeria independence. And I want to bring everybody in on this one because when it comes to issue like this, it's good for everyone to have their say, regardless of where you're from as part of the country. So let me pull this. Do you guys really think Nigeria of today has really gained its independence?
No.
Well,
I absolutely disagree with that. Do you want me to go first, or is there an order?
Okay, there's an order
Precious,
here.
go first. Go for it.
Precious, you going first.
Okay, so I don't think we're independent at all. We're still very, very much not independent, and you can see it in our systems and our way of life. You can see, I'm just going to give a few examples. Back in Nigeria, I don't feel like psychologically, emotionally, we're independent at all. So there's a higher sort of regard given to somebody that is not Nigerian. So if you go to a school that the principal is Caucasian, those schools will be deemed as having better standards. A Nigerian person abroad is called an immigrant, and a Caucasian person in Nigeria is called an expatriate. We're heavily, heavily still enslaved. We're not independent at all. There's different rules for some people and different rules for the other people. Take, for instance, our accents. If I speak with a Nigerian accent, I will call a bush girl a local girl. But if I put on a different kind of accent, they'll call me a posh girl. They'll say I have a higher standard. So these type of examples fall this independence, false independence that we have. On paper, yes, we got independence, quote unquote, in 1960, but we're still heavily enslaved. We're still very heavily influenced by Western culture. We're still very heavily influenced by Western policies. We're still always looking up to other people for help. So on that regard, I don't believe that we're independent at all.
Favor, can I get your input on this?
I think Stephen wanted to go first.
Okay, no, Favor, you go first. Okay.
Yeah, so Precious was completely right, but I'm gonna take it back from, because I've been in Nigeria like practically my whole life, and we are not independent at all because the basic rights of every Nigerian has been infringed upon. You do not have a right as a human. Most times the situation or the end discussion as to when every Nigerian gets wrong, maybe whatever it is, countless. For me to start going into details, I'll just go far. But the thing is, every Nigerian feels that the best thing for him to do when wronged or when he has an issue is to just keep quiet, understand the situation, thank God that they did not die, and move on. You know, and it's so funny that now where we see Nigerians standing up for themselves, saying this is wrong, this is this, this is that, we are now trying to be portrayed as being violent. We are trying to be portrayed as being evil, as having another agenda and having to disrupt national unity and progress.
Let me put you on hold. We'll come back to yourself there. Steven, can I have your input on that?
Yeah, well, Precious and Favor, they really went into it very well. I would say that personally, there's a difference between being from being independent versus to being free. And as my two colleagues mentioned earlier, it's really the mental slavery, you could say. It's the colonial mentality, okay, putting certain things, let's say, outsiders above your own. And then in the case of keeping quiet when you're being oppressed, even if you're being oppressed by your own people. So you could argue that's the reason why you don't really see, or you haven't historically seen that many protests. You know, like you look at Nigerian history, yes, it's been an independent country, but it's not been a free country. It's not been a democratic country. Most of the history has been one of military dictatorship. I mean, Nigeria's only been consistently a democracy since 1999, and even then, it's been lacking a number of key areas, which obviously Favor can go more into, and we will in subsequent episodes. Okay. So, yeah.
But there are other countries out there in Africa who are looking up to Nigeria, and compared to what Nigeria is, you know, there are other African countries who are looking up to Nigeria, because sometimes too, when you actually in a country, you don't see more until you go out. I know, yeah, so many things are wrong in there. Certain things are not right. Nigeria is not, you know, the way we wanted it to be. A lot of stuff, but so other countries who are looking up to Nigeria would think Nigeria is far better to where with what they have.
Yeah,
like which country?
Okay,
I can give you Sierra Leone, Congo, the Republic of even Ghana. Well, I won't say Ghana. Ghana is doing really well, but these two countries would be a very, very good example for you.
They're on the same continent. Africa was a piece of cake that was shared by different Western regions. So we're all the same. All leaders in Africa, they were cut from the same cloth. They went to the same school of leadership from the same colonial empires. So I don't think that that's a very what's the word for it? Comparison.
Yeah,
to make.
I would say the Nigerian system, or the independent system of Nigeria, it looks good on paper. Okay. If you go through history and you want to understand how Nigeria became, when I was studying history and you learn how Nigeria became independent and how we grew, it looks so beautiful. It's something to be commendable. You want to emulate it, but when you're not coming to the little details as to what was under the cloth, that's when you get to see that things happen that we don't know. And then in the instance of saying people are looking up to us, it's all fine and good. But the truth is this, right? Even we as a country, we still have flaws. We still have issues we need to tackle, and these underlying issues are what have been building up to put us in this present situation that we are right now.
Okay, so my question still back to the very first, segment of the show. Everything we've been talking about today is all great. It's fine. Everyone's talking on way to change or divide the country and move forward, whichever way. But I haven't really seen a real solution. And one of the best solutions I've really seen, which was talked about, was the one Stephen mentioned in regards to education. Education is the very, very key. Going back to either you have to go back to history. History, I get it. History is what made the country what it is today, but that would not change anything. That would not change anything at all. So what about things that would make things to change? Forget about to divide the country, or everyone have to go their own.
I think in my opinion is, do you want to go first? Go ahead.
Go on, Zebi. Let me bring Zebi then.
So in my opinion, I honestly think, yes, the education is key, is good. Also, the constitution needs to be redone up again. People need to be held accountable for their actions. Like a lot of governments will do something and there is no one goes to jail. Example, for the Lekki massacre, we're still asking who ordered the shooting. Like no one is being brought to justice for this. Like there's nothing being done about this. We're all moving on with our lives. Typical Nigeria.
I understand, but here is the question I keep asking everybody, which I'm going to be challenging you guys going forward, is that if you are crying for people to be prosecuted, who are the people that's going to prosecute the same people who are in the same system? How is that going to happen?
Sorry, can I go?
I think Angel wanted to say something.
Angel go.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Angel.
I wanted to tackle the question at a different angle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like years ago, when the British colonized Nigeria, they took all of our resources. We were making timber, rubber, and so many different produce. But right now, after independence, I don't believe that, like everybody has said as well, that we are independent, because we don't even produce our own toothpick. We don't produce anything in Nigeria. Everything is exported. The likes of electricity, we give our neighbors Ghana 24 hours electricity while we are still battling with generators. Our healthcare, we're still dependent on going to different countries to get standard healthcare, and also produce as well, which is very, very important to the economy for the growth of a nation. We're always dependent on items being imported into the country. We're not producing anything. And as we know, in the economy, you have to produce. A country has to produce in order to have money and revenue for the people.
Yes, but these things you're saying, they are fundamental, which actually help economic system, which help, our everyday life, families, and all the rest. But the point I'm trying to figure out here, the people who you're saying to come back to, to be prosecuted or to change the way things are like right now, they are the same people. So who are the main people you think that can bring changes to the nation as a country?
The Nigerian citizens.
Good leaders. That's all
yeah,
we need.
so
We need good leaders. And it boils down to the constitution. The same people in power are the same people that are enabling this evil. So it boils down to leadership, and the leadership boils down to the constitution, and the constitution boils down to history. So you cannot break that link. It's all linked in together.
What?
That is the
yeah,
point.
but
Okay, well, go on, Stephen.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. Favorite, you have your go after me. I'll be quick.
yeah,
What I would suggest if you really want to actually go there, and I favorite touched upon it, there's a lot of people who have suffered injustice and haven't spoken up about it. What I would do is I would suggest like a truth and reconciliation commission, like for all the injustice, for everything. Everyone has suffered, whether it's from SARS, whether it's from the conflict in the Niger Delta, anything, so they can get the grievances forward, and then we can just, okay, who did what, and like Zainab was saying, how we can actually get justice, how people can be prosecuted. Because a lot, again, we don't know the full scale. There's a lot of people don't reveal it because they're scared, they're frightened. We've seen it now more recently with NSARS being rejuvenated, people getting more involved with it. But ideally, you do that. So I'll leave it to Favor.
Okay, Favor, you jump in on that quickly. So
yeah, so quickly, I just want to say, in regards to your question about the solution and what to do, is I'm sure, as everyone has seen, there has been a shift in the conscience of the average Nigerian man. And therein lies the solution. The constitution, yes, we need to change that, right? But one thing I love, and I know it's going to be a solution, is the understanding and the knowledge that every average human being has. Because now what you see is everyone is now understanding the constitution, understanding the basic rights, understanding what we need to do, reading, researching, coming up, talking about. Now, the past few months is an indication that this is the right path. Okay, the more we learn about the constitution, the more you learn about your rights, the more you learn about how to change from the inside. Because I've always said the constitution was created by the man to suit his own needs. But the problem the man forgot to realize is that anyone else that comes in and understands the constitution the same way he does also can suit his own needs. And that is what is happening. More people are awakening and understanding and reading and seeing that the constitution is something we can also use to our advantage and change.
Okay, thank you very much, Favor. We will come back to the constitution.
I also think, I also think if there's accountability for every action anybody does or takes in Nigeria, this will move forward, because like nobody gets punished for anything. The only people who gets punished for anything are the less privileged people. No one, like if you have money, like you can bribe the judge, you can bribe the police people, you can do anything, because no one wants to. It's all about money. There's no morality, there's no education.
That is my whole point. That is a question I think I will be really going to be asking a lot more, because everything every one of you is saying here today, they're right. It is true. But the problem which I'm trying to get from you guys is, how can we break this cycle? Because this cycle is not a today's cycle. This cycle is not what's yesterday. This is a fundamental from the beginning of the independent day to this day. Like many of you have said, Nigeria is a business. Some of you have said Nigeria has already been, different things have already been occurred. Everyone gets to understand. But what I'm trying to figure out here is, who are the people that will bring these changes? So, it's a very hard call.
I think honestly, if everyone comes together, if we take away that tribalism, that separation, like if we come together, just like what NSAS, we all came together and we asked questions. We want our rights. We want justice. We want this and that. Like if you look at what happened during the NSAS after the shooting, the whole governments, they were all confused. They didn't know what to do. Like we as a nation, even in diaspora, we're so strong and so powerful. If we stick together and keep pressing and pressing and pressing, I am sure the Nigerian system will be broken. We're gonna start afresh, and the constitution will be amended. There'll be education. There'll be accountability for every single thing that any person does. I feel like if we keep doing that and don't give up and keep pressing and pressing and keep asking questions, because as a human being, you have a right. You have the right to life. You have the right to food. You have basic human rights. But in Nigeria, all these rights are stripped away from you. Not even Nigeria, in Africa, all these rights are stripped away from you. I feel like if we all come together as Nigerians, abroad, home, like we will be we're gonna change it. It's got to be changed.
That is,
Yeah.
and
And
then-
Chris, I'm trying to buttress your points because I understand where you're coming from, right? And one thing I'm trying not to get to, if I get to not emotional, but if I get too up, I'm just gonna talk a lot. So I'm trying to break it down and say one. So the truth is this, yeah. In order for the new Nigeria, or in order for viewers at home or everyone else to understand the way forward, it's simple. Okay, look at the NSAS movement. Before the NSAS movement started, when it started, it's every basic. So I'm going to say this, and any Nigerian at home can dispute it. We have been scared for a long time. We've been scared for a long time because the government acts and does not take accountability. You know, so many things happen in the government, from the presidency down to the governor. They say some things, and everyone is. We know that these things are wrong, but everyone is afraid to act. Now with the NSAS, you can see that people are waking up, even the youths waking up. During one of the protests, there was a situation whereby there were some people that were tried to be hired, you know, to break up the violence and the people, you know, to make it look like the youths were.
Right.
They woke up, they realized, they understood, and this was due to information being passed around. There have been videos of hoodlums that tried to come to stop, and you see people actually attacking these hoodlums back, and you see the police literally doing nothing, standing on the sidelines just watching. So what I'm trying to say is the constitution, yes, is fine, right? We need to understand what it is. But the thing is this, it's already happening because you can see people asking questions. Why is this happening? What is going on? And I think that is the major point of this whole talk, is to wake up the conscience of the average human to ask questions, to read, to learn, to understand. And with that, it's just gonna rise and keep on building.
Very good question. Okay, very good point there, Favor. I want to move on to something else, but because you guys were still kind of, you know, literally on this, I have one more question there before I move on. Now, my next one I want to ask you guys is this: the youth in Nigeria, do you guys think, because it seems to be those of us in the diaspora are more doing a lot of more talking right now. What about the youth in Nigeria? What do you think they should be doing? What role they should be playing in education, in awareness, in various areas that can really push things to change for the future?
Can I come in there? I think we have to understand the position that the Nigerian youths are currently at the moment. A few months ago, I think Lai Mohammed, the communication officer or I don't know his position, he was of information, where he was trying to pose an anti-social media law just to quieten down the movement of the NSARS and whatnot. So like people in Nigeria, they're in a very vulnerable position because their human rights are infringed. They don't have freedom of speech. Even what is on media is being censored at times. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So we are actually like their voice at the moment in the diaspora, and we can't just, you know, leave them because they are in the front line, in the hot seat, so to speak. But one thing I like to encourage, especially those in Nigeria, to do as young people is to get involved in administration, in politics, get involved in the lawmaking, the policies, the decisions that will really affect the government. Because the more we infiltrate that government, the more we can take over and steer the movement into the direction that we want it to be, and having also that principle of morality, integrity, accountability, transparency alongside, and then we will see the Nigeria that we want to see in the future.
Fair point, but my point back again would be, what kind of politics should
grassroots
actually play? You know,
they need to go to.
Do they have to join the existing politicians, or do they have to form their own politicians?
I think they should form their own politicians. We cannot trust anybody.
Currently, what we're seeing right now in Nigeria is, with the youths, is they're using whatever means they have to spread the information, and it's really picky on what political party. There are some political parties that have come up also fighting towards, instead of joining, because most political parties are corrupt, we all know that. So now you see some of the youths are trying to come up with political parties, because you see it's made up of celebrities, whether from the entertainment, or dance, acting, or whatever industry, all coming together to one, also inform using whatever means they have, skits, videos, or whatsoever it is, and also trying to come in, collaborate with lawyers, youth lawyers, people that have also been in the politics industry in a way that also understand what needs to be changed. So the solution is not to join a political party, because all political parties have been corrupt.
That is fine. That is fine. What we can do on the next time we can have in our show again, we'll be looking at check and balance, because you have to understand that once you're a politician, it is not easy for you to kick the old, the older ones out. They want to bring new faces. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff that needs to play around. Next one I want to move into, it is the nationalization in the north side and the northern politics. As you all know very well, lately there's a whole lot of movement going on in Nigeria called the S-Men and the cartels and all other stuff are happening. First of all, I want us to talk about the aspect of the naturalization, if I'm correct, and then we'll talk about the northern policy. I want to bring you guys on board on this. So I think, Favor, you're very familiar with this very content. Otherwise, I'll put it to everybody. With the ongoing issue in Nigeria, where you have the North, an issue going on with policy. There's one part of the country where schools are paid for, and there's one part of the country where you get, you have to pay, and one side is free. Why is this happening? What do you guys think we can do to make sure, as in Nigeria, we should all be looking as one Nigeria, not one is special than the other?
The only thing I'm going to say is the North, it feels like the North has been ignored for so long, and now they are just fighting back. That's because
what kind of ignorance are you talking about when you mean the North has been?
So according to history, as you would find it, you would see that the Lugard more than just he alienated the North, basically cutting off supply of any sort of information down to the North. And it's quite worrying that when you look at Nigeria, the South, the East, you see progress, you see advancements, you see things like that going on. But the North just seems there. It's quite questionable.
Yeah, but if the North just seems there, the North have the one who are more empowered than the South. The South.
That's what I'm saying.
Can I answer that, please? Can I come in here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so the North, well, I don't think they were ignored. We've seen Ahmadu Bello's northernization policy, where he says a northerner first, and if there's no northerner that can fulfill the job, we get an expatriate, and if there's no expatriate, then we call on a southerner, Igbo person, or a Yoruba person. So these policies were in place since the beginning of time, and there's also accounts of the map of Nigeria having been manipulated to apportion more land to the northern region. Originally, the North was not that big, but the map of Nigeria was manipulated so that states were allocated to the northern parts to give them more power and more hold. The northern elites have such a hold on the current Nigeria. I mean, when we talk about organization, we're talking about the marginalization of the Igbos and the Yorubas, which birthed Biafra, because other people are feeling like they are left out of the country. Now, we currently have policies in place that favors a northern person to get reduced cutoff points to enter the university, and the rest of the country they don't care about. And then even if you look at recent happenings with the herdsmen, you see the people in power, the leadership, they are dialoguing with terrorists, but you call Biafra a terrorist organization, but you don't call the herdsmen a terrorist organization. These people, Biafran people, were just wanting a share of the country. They wanted to not feel marginalized, but you call them the IPOB, sorry, you call them terrorists, but you call the headsmen good people. You feed them, you give them monetary allowance every month, you give them a part of the country, you dialogue with them, you even give them money so that they stop kidnapping. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. So I'm sorry, modernization policy also includes the stark illiteracy that is going on there. Those people were put in bondage. You see them bringing their children, young children, to vote on election day. So when we talk about the North, I don't think they were left out. The North really right now, they control the country. They are the ones put in. I mean, if you go to NNPC, it's made up of the northern people. You have no business there. That is in the south. Why is there so many people in NNPC from the north, but they are not in Shell? You can see, again, monopolization of the market. Why is Dangote so rich today? The market was monopolized. He's not a forward thinker. I don't see any innovation he's doing. But the likes of Innocent Motors, he's been marginalized. He's not given the room and the freedom to grow. But the likes of Dangote, who has no forward vision, no thinking, no nothing, no innovation. You monopolize market, you gave him the power to produce all the sugar, cement, and everything. And then you tell me the country belongs to everybody. No, the country belongs to the Northerners, sorry.
All right. Well, David, can I bring you on that one? Stephen, just hold on, I bring David. Can I have your input on this?
To be honest, I somewhat agree with Precious, but we have to realize that not all Northerners are Northerners, if you get what I mean. Like, I feel like most of the power in the North are given to the Fulanese people, and Fulani people are like, I'll call them the travelers of Africa. They're settlers. So like the way everything looks, it looks like, oh, the Hausas, because the North is such a huge, diverse community. You have the Nigerian people, you have the Fulanis, you have the Hausas, you have different Hafa people, you have different people. So like we have to be careful when we literally blame the Northerners for having so much power. But in my opinion, the Fulanis are the people in power. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I do understand the point you're coming from, but at the end of the day, if you're living in the North, is the North. So I know like you mentioned, it has different ethnic in there. But if you go back to what Favor said at the very start, it says that they are not, I think it mentioned something about they are not aware, but I mean, they're not giving a lot of
yes, there's not that much education in the North because of whatever way the system was made back in the days.
Yeah, but at the end
I don't know why that is, but we do, like in the North, I feel like they're more on religion than they're more on religion. So like they prefer to learn about Islamic. They prefer to learn about the Islamic ways rather than like the normal way. So like I feel like they do have religion and they do have education, but the education is based on the religion way.
Okay, before we wrap this up, this is my own conclusion here, which I think I would like you guys to actually put into it. Is what do you think the South can do to work with the North so that they can all bring about unity, transparency, ways forward, stop the killing, everybody become one. What do you guys think? Because we are the future generation. Whatever we do today, we affect our tomorrow, even though we are in diaspora. And there are other people who are there going through a lot of things that they have to deal with. So what do you guys think that would be?
Well, just to kind of go off what everyone else was saying, again, it goes back to history, all right? We look at when the amalgamation took place in 1914. Originally, you obviously had the Northern Nigerian Protectorate and Southern Nigerian Protectorate, or just Southern Nigeria. It fundamentally goes back to the colonization. The South was obviously on the coast. The British, they spent a lot more time. They directly colonized it, so they made sure that there was education up to their standards, in their ways, obviously for their benefit. The North was ruled indirectly, so you had the system of emirs, which was a lot more authoritarian, and obviously religion was a lot more prominent, whereas Christianity was obviously brought in by the Europeans to the South, and they put in their own structures. So you look, for example, the Igbo people, they were a lot more meritocratic, a lot more democratic in their society, pre-colonial, whereas the North was a lot more autocratic. So they kind of kept that in place. And when they were amalgamated, the North didn't really change. And that's why you didn't have that development either, because obviously the British, whenever they colonized, always put in infrastructure, roads, so on. education circles, like I mentioned. So that led essentially that division this day, because northern leaders, most of the country's leaders have been from the north, yet the north is still the poorest part of Nigeria, the most literate part of Nigeria. And like Faye was saying, they don't know. That's why they look at NSARS and thinking, we need SARS to stop the banditry. We need the military to stop Boko Haram. So they don't realize. So I think you're going to build that unity. You need to be like, look, this isn't about Islam. This isn't actually about your ethnicity. This is about your government. Your own leaders are essentially oppressing you, and you don't realize it. They're oppressing all of us. If we want to create that unity, we need to make it about, again, beyond tribalism, beyond everything.
Yeah, fair point you made there, Stephen, which I mentioned in the very start of this whole conversation, was in regional states. You know, who are these people that needs to take responsibility? Because you cannot just focus only on the, you know, the president. Those who are representing each state in terms of your local government, your local representative, your governor, and all of these people, they should be held responsible even before going down to the president, you know, and people who you elected, because you have to go back to the people as well. It brings us back to education as well. People who are voting, who are you voting for? What are the reasons you're voting there for? And if they are voted, what did they do for you? You know what I mean? So all these are the things I believe that, you know, we should be looking into a lot more. I believe that way education can really spread around everybody, if that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah, totally. I think I was going to jump in on that when you asked the question earlier on. I was talking about grassroots politics. I think people that need to make the change that we want to see, we need to start from the bottom. We can't just keep going to the president, because I mean, if you think about it, we are 200 million people. It's very hard to control 200 million people. It's even almost impossible. That's why America have their system of government, where each state has autonomous power over their state, over their development. Nigeria has so much potential. Apart from it being the fifth largest oil producing country, we have tourism. We have our very own Silicon Valley in Nigeria, in the east. We could make it into our own Silicon Valley, but no, we're not doing that, because we centralize everything. So grassroots politics is so important. I think people need to hold their reps more accountable. People that are in your local chairman, your councilors, all of that. You need to, first of all, be very educated on why you're going to vote for these people. Don't be influenced by 5,000 naira and a bag of rice, because this bag of rice and 5,000 naira is going to finish eventually. So again, the Nigerian youth, just like Angel said, they're very disadvantaged because they have been chained by poverty, where the momentary release of that poverty and momentary relief of that poverty is all they're thinking about. We glorify stealing in Nigeria. We glorify it. Our leaders are literally embezzling and looting funds, and they are throwing money in the streets, and we are hailing them. We are calling them boss and oga. So why the next person is looking to be like that? So that system of corruption is so highly ingrained in the average Nigerian youth that honestly, I'm sorry to say, I don't see the youth doing better in Nigeria. I really don't. I don't see the youth doing better in Nigeria because they're looking to steal more than their predecessors. They really are, because we glorify stealing so much in that country. So again, education is important. And education, when I say education, I'm talking about education of your history, of your norms, of your values, of what you were before you became Nigeria. You need to be educated on your self-love. This boils down to self-love. If a lot of other countries that are successful today and that are thriving today is built on their love of their self, love of their country, they can go to war on behalf of their country. We can see it in the capital. They love they are so passionate about their country now. And we don't have that in Africa.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Guys, look, there's so many things there, and I believe we are running out of time, guys. But look, we have plenty of time, and we believe that our next program again, we'll be looking into a lot of stuff. One of the main things I would like you guys to work on would be in relation to your representative. Those who you want them to represent you, you know, they should be held accountable. And I believe the next time we want to talk about issues like this again, maybe we should look into those kind of issues, because it is very important. Even as youth today, if you go and represent the people who have asked you to represent them, possibility you might not do what they ask you, and everything will change. So this is the problem, and we need to look into that. Ladies, people, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah, so one thing is, Precious, I love everything you said, but there's one thing I just don't want to agree, because I've been in Nigeria a lot, we do not glorify stealing. This issue is a mindset thing, and it's really affected us a lot, and which is why I have a problem with the situation going on. So it's more about having to change the mindset. It's more about having to completely uproot the previous mindset we had. Okay, that's one thing, because the situation is bad, but that's it. Sorry, next time we'll talk more about it. But yeah,
we gotta make it good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you all so much for wrapping this show up. For viewers at home, thank you for tuning in. As always, it's the Joe Request Show. So join my wonderful guests. They are the faces that you're going to be seeing the next couple of weeks. And from now till the summertime, that they're going to be talking a whole lot of stuff about ongoing issue in Nigeria from diaspora. So keep an eye on this wonderful, amazing ladies and gentlemen who will be joining me on the show. And I will share with you more dates on when different programs like this will be coming your way. So make sure you're part of this conversation, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and also on Instagram. So we'll come your way next week. Take care and God bless. Bye for now.